Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Heiso, and welcome back to Paws and Purpose, the SPCA of Texas podcast. We are here today with another fantastic guest. Again, I'm Paul Heiso.
I'm Mara Davies.
And I'm KJ Eugene.
And today we have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Shelby Bobosky. And Shelby, correct me, I think I have your title right, but tell me if you correct me at any point here. I see that you are the Executive Director for the Texas Humane Legislation Network, Adjunct Law Professor for Animal Law and Wildlife Law at SMU College of Law. Is that all correct?
Correct, yes.
You are awesome. Wow.
Thank you.
What a cool title. Very cool. So glad to have you here today. We have, all three of us have 1,000 different questions. So we thought maybe we'd just start off and just let you tell us about yourself and what you do for THLN.
Sure. So I am the Executive Director. The Texas Humane Legislation Network has been around for 50 years.
Wow.
We're celebrating our 50th year this year. Very exciting.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. I stand on the shoulders of many amazing people before me, C.L. Holloway, Skip Tremble, and so many others, and they had such amazing partnerships with the SPCA, and we've continued that. One of the great bills that we worked on together was the license plate bill, if you remember that.
Yes.
It was in 1997, and since that bill was passed, over $8 million in spay-neuter funding for very rural areas throughout the state of Texas. If you ever see the license plate, it says animal friendly. Mm-hmm. And we're actually working on a bill this session to improve that and get more money put into the fund. So that's really exciting.
Awesome.
But our partnership starts many years back with the SPCA of Texas, and I consider some of my best friends in animal welfare working here and volunteering here as well. But the Texas Humane Legislation Network, we are a C4 organization. Our mission is to promote the humane treatment of animals through legislation and advocacy. And right now we're in the middle of a legislative session, so the timing is perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, maybe... I don't know, you want to kind of tell us a little bit, just kind of give us a real quick synopsis of what's going on, and maybe
Sure.
we can lead into some more questions about
Absolutely.
that.
So the Texas legislature meets every 2 years, and they only meet for 6 months. I think there are right now, oh my gosh, over 8,000 bills that were filed.
Oh, wow.
But we're in the home stretch. And surprisingly, and a good thing, is that our bills are still alive. You know, so many bills die throughout the session. They don't get hearings, whatnot. So right now, one of our bills is going to the floor tomorrow for a floor vote, and its Senate companion is in the Senate, and it's about to get voted on as well. So that's really exciting. We have the spay-neuter bill, bringing more funding for spay-neuter, and that is having no issues, but both of our other bills really have formidable opposition, which is incredibly frustrating. So it really is a fight to get animal legislation passed at the Capitol.
How do you all plan to what topics to address each year?
Yeah.
Especially each legislative session.
That is a great question. So we really work with our stakeholders, including great C3s like the SPCA of Texas, and we try to tackle statewide issues. We have about 10 questions that we go through before we choose a bill every session, and one of them is, is it a statewide issue? And our current ones, the ethical pet sales bill and the vet telemedicine bill, are definitely statewide issues. So, we roundtable it through our stakeholders, again, like rescues, but Texas Animal Control Association. We have a good relationship with some of our national partners. And then once we decide to take on a bill, we go for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, and then that prioritization you just spoke to is so important because it's the long game. I know. I think back to the first bit of work that I was aware of that THLN did was Loco's Law back in 2001. And I came in on the tail end of that, but I still got to meet, Skip was there, of course, and then Loco and his pet parents were there. And what an important bill that was. But knowing how to play that long game and say, okay, well, these are the things we've got to do. Mm-hmm. But then the question I want to ask here is, if a bill is not signed into law, mm-hmm. Does that make it a priority for the next legislative session, or not necessarily?
Oh my gosh, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 bills out there and I'm suspicious.
Yeah, I'm going to put into the universe that all good things are happening.
That's right. No, I'll be honest. just to go back quickly to Loco's Law, what an
Yes.
amazing law. So what happened is there was this dog, and he was stolen from a yard, and his eyes were gouged out and then returned to this yard. And at the time, there was only a misdemeanor available, which was a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, that's
And so Loco put a face to the legitimization of animal welfare laws and how important it is. And one of the greatest things about THLN is we believe in progress over perfection. If we're not going to get everything we want, we'll get some progress in there, and like you said, hit it up the next session. Sometimes it takes a while to pass a bill. It took 6 years to pass the Safe Outdoor Dogs Act, and that was such an amazing victory because
Huge.
it was very exciting because we are the first state in Texas, the first state in the United States to ban chains as a method of restraint.
So
and so
good.
working with your amazing cruelty team, Courtney Burns heads it up. She has removed more chains off of any dogs than any other law enforcement agency or animal cruelty team that I know of.
Wow, that's
But she
wonderful.
also educates them as well and will give them a tie-out cable. You don't need a chain for this dog, because they're so inhumane. So that's a great way to look at it. Right now with the ethical pet sales bill, which I'm happy to talk about, it's going to be tough. If we don't pass it, we are really going to have to look at our resources and see if we can come out against it. There are so many lobbyists on the other side, and it's very difficult to pass laws in Texas as it is. 1 in 4 bills fail. And so knowing that they have those lobbyists, we got to look at our resources and see if it's something we can do.
And what's the crux to that bill, Shelby?
Sure.
Can you kind of tell us where both sides come down on that?
Absolutely. So the ethical pet sales bill basically says we cannot sell puppies or kittens in stores anymore. We have about 38 stores across Texas that sell puppies and kittens and make a lot of money off of doing so. If the bill passes, the Petco's, the PetSmarts, Pet Supply Plus, you are still going to have your relationship with those stores, and you can adopt out as many animals as you want. You just can't sell them. It's very frustrating because only 38 stores in the state of Texas. That's nothing. We have 254 counties. But because they're making so much money off of each pet, dog or cat that is sold, they are truly, truly fighting it tooth and nail and every step of the way. And so there is definitely formidable opposition.
So do you have lobbyists that are in there influencing legislators?
We do.
legislators? Yeah.
We do. We are the grassroots side, though, because so many of our people, they don't make any money. In fact, we are drowning in dogs and cats. And so we know that 13,000 puppies come into this state every year from really the Midwestern puppy mill. Belt is what you call it. And as a result, they are not altered. So then they are sold. And a lot of people try to recoup their investment, especially if you pay $7,500 for a dog. So it leads to the backyard breeding, and it's really problematic and frustrating. In the city of Dallas, we passed an ordinance saying no more puppies in pet stores. And we knew in COVID, ping pong tables and puppies were the number one thing sold.
Wow.
So 1,348 puppies were sold from one store in 1 year.
Oh.
And here's the best part. We're drowning in amazing
Right.
animals
Yeah.
that sometimes have to be euthanized due to lack of space.
And here we are as animal welfare organizations. We just transported our 8,000th cat. Just a couple of weekends ago, we had another one this weekend transport to the Northeast and the Northwest.
Right.
And we do dog transports as well on top of that 8,000 since we started doing this, I think, 3.5 years ago.
Amazing.
And thankfully, there are shelter partners in the Northeast and Northwest who are looking for mainly cats, but also some dogs. And this is just part of that cycle. So we've got to stop the animals from coming into the state. And it will help balance out a little, but we're still drowning in dogs and cats.
Right.
And I mean, that's such a complex issue in and of itself. This is an important piece of it.
It really is. And you bring up such a good point from a policy perspective. Why are we as rescuers killing ourselves to transport thousands of dogs and cats monthly, weekly, depending on where you're from, out of the state? And yet they're allowed to transport unaltered puppies, 13,000, best guesstimate, into the state. It doesn't make good policy. And that's really why so many legislators are like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. We're past how much is that doggy in the window at this point. But not only from a welfare side, a lot of people have come forth and brought lawsuits. You can go on Yelp and Google. These dogs that are being sold, these puppies, are sick. and also they have congenital defects. I have a dog, it just got adopted, but it was from a puppy-selling pet store in Frisco, and it ended up at the shelter in the colony. This person paid $5,000 for it. It was constantly sick the first 3 months of its life, and then the reason was it just doesn't fit into my lifestyle anymore. And so then they do end up at the shelters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that a lot of us are very passionate about. This is our third session bringing it, and we're going all in.
Awesome.
I love it.
And back to the, what did you say his name was his name Loco?
Loco.
The-
Loco.
Or
Did-
Toa mix.
Did that bill get the penalties changed to a felony?
State jail felony,
Awesome.
absolutely. And really, since that's passed, we've gone from where cruelty was a misdemeanor to now you can get 2 to 10 years on torture automatically, torturing. So it actually was updated for the past 20 years in 4 legislative sessions.
Oh, wow.
We're very proud. We have a great animal cruelty law. Sometimes enforcement can be difficult, but we're proud of what we have.
Well,
Yes.
Shelby, I've always heard that the United States and the UK have the toughest animal cruelty laws in the world. Does that jive with what you know, or is that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great question. It depends. A lot of our animal cruelty laws are statewide. So, for example, South Dakota was the last state to pass an animal felony law, and it only passed a couple years ago. But I'm very proud of Texas. In the past 5 years, we went from like a ranking of like around 35th in the nation to now I think we're 12th according to Animal League Defense Fund in the best animal cruelty laws. So we're
Awesome.
proud of that.
Awesome.
That is huge.
Totally.
Well, and I kind of want to debunk something that goes around social media far too often. On our Facebook page, Instagram page, we get so many comments from people who live in other states who don't know and have not taken the time to educate themselves, who say, "Oh, Texas is just terrible." It's like, actually, no. Because of THLN's excellent work, the laws in Texas are actually quite good when it comes to protecting animals, and the work is not stopping anytime soon to make the laws better, to continue to improve. And so I feel personally very lucky to live in this state for animal cruelty protections. And so, yeah, I'm just saying this to anyone out there who's hearing us say this right now. Texas is doing quite well, actually.
We
Good.
are.
We can always improve, but we're
Yeah.
doing quite well.
Yeah, we're proud of the laws that we passed. And again, a lot of it is education too. So our 254 counties, we're a huge state. And I learned a couple years ago that when when law enforcement graduates the academy, they have, and I mean this, 0 animal cruelty training. So what we do in the interim is we go around and we help train LEOs to detect and look at and investigate animal cruelty. And it's not their fault. They're not trained on it. But that is one of the goals, is to get the education out there so that they can enforce these laws. Because as we know, there's a direct link between interpersonal violence and animal cruelty. And you don't have to go far. You can look at Uvalde
Yeah.
and just see that perfect example.
Yeah, something just came up at Texas Unites about that. We had that same discussion. Yeah, yeah.
Very important.
I'm sure changing those laws is like an uphill battle sometimes. Is there anything the community could do to help support the work that you all do?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that question. Thank you so much. Yes, it is a 5-minute phone call. That's it. So we are at such an important and crucial stage of legislation. Our ethical pet sales bill is going to the floor for a vote. So if everybody could make a 5-minute phone call to their state representative and say, please support the ethical pet sale bill, it's House Bill 3458, I cannot tell you how important that is, because people are actually doing something. You know, words are great, but unless you put them into action, let's say one office got 100 calls in one day because of this podcast, you actually could change the mind of a legislator. So it's as simple as that.
Wow.
Spreading the word.
Is a call better, or an email, or should people do both? Or
I would do calls at this point.
Yeah.
They are inundated with emails. You know, we are fighting, the ledge is like a hurricane, and we're at the very, very bottom right now. We're so close, right? And so calls are very, very important. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Yeah. Going back a little bit, because you talked about other bills that are under consideration this session. We talked a lot about the ethical pet sales bill. Tell us a little bit about the other piece of legislation.
Absolutely.
you're working
So
on.
we have a bill, we call it the vet telemedicine bill. Right now, we are in a veterinarian shortage. And Texas, because of its size, is so exacerbated, right?
Sure.
So we have 50 counties in Texas that have no veterinarian.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
It is. And I will tell you, so what vet telemedicine does is right now in the state of Texas, you can do telemedicine with your veterinarian, but they have to see the pet in person for that first visit. So we're just removing that barrier, and we're giving more access to pet care throughout Texas. It's so important. I don't know if you guys have ever been, like, I was at the beach at one point. I had my dog with me, and the dog got cut on something. I have no idea where an emergency vet is. I'm having a great day, and now I have to stop everything, right, to go
Right.
find one.
Yeah.
And so when actually it could just be a little salve that needs to be put on the pad, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
So there are situations like that that come up all the time. But those areas that lack vet care, it's so important, right, to get them the access that they need. Some of the witnesses at the hearing, they're all from South Texas. They have no vets.
Yeah.
So why are we going to other states? It passed in Florida and Arizona, two very conservative states. So we're hoping we can move it along. We do have some opposition with the Texas Veterinary Medical Association, but as advocates, we really need this change. We need that. And yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. Well, what could be their opposition? I don't understand what they would.
We're trying to understand it as well. They're very worried about, I guess, malpractice. However, Canada has been doing vet telemedicine, and there hasn't been a single claim of malpractice. They've been doing it for 10 years. And we feel that their own professional organization, the TVBME, can handle those cases. I would rather have an animal be treated by a veterinarian telemedically versus no treatment at all.
Oh,
And that's what's
absolutely.
happening.
Yeah.
Well, and we have telemedicine as humans. I can
Yeah.
go on an app and get that right now with a doctor I've never met before.
Thank you. Since 2017 in Texas.
And I would say, how much has that opened up access to so many more people, Maura, and,
Exactly.
and really made it easy for people. So why not do that same thing for animals? That's a brilliant idea.
If I can, there was a great court case, because I do animal law as well. It came out from the Fifth Circuit, and one of the best lines from the judge is, why are we able to treat our Uncle Bernard with telemedicine, but not our St. Bernard, right?
That's
So
a
it
great
just
line.
makes sense.
It's perfect.
Yeah. The other one has to deal with stricter penalties for cockfighting and dogfighting. This is so crucial. In the state of Texas, we are just seeing a surge of cockfighting cases. And as you guys know, hands-on, how problematic this is, how expensive they are. And at the same time, at these fights, there's so much cartel activity, there's so much other illegal bad things happening, and we've got to make the penalties fit the crime. So it's very important that we get that looked at. Representative Anchia, who I believe is the state representative over the SPCA. Sorry, he's next door.
He's right next door, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he is bringing the bill, and it's just a really important piece of legislation.
You don't anticipate
Yes.
opposition to that, do you?
Actually, there is formidable opposition. They are called the Texas Game Breeders Association, and what they're arguing is already illegal. But again, the issue is cockfighting is just widespread. As you guys have seen, I mean, you've had several recent strings of cases involving cockfighting, and it's 100% related to cartel activity. And it's very important that we get a handle on this now. And it's not fair for our rural law enforcement agencies. I mean, Hunt County and Van Zant, they are so lucky to have that partnership with the SPCA. And Courtney and her team are amazing. But when you think about 254 counties and where this is happening. So we're very passionate about that particular bill, but that's a good example of sometimes we stay in the background. We do some of our best work behind the scenes, but that bill is having some opposition as well. If I can say, unbelievable, in November in Smith County, they went up to a house and they knocked on the door. They invited them in. There were 2 dogs running on treadmills, and in the back they had a dog fighting pit.
Oh, dear.
with
Oh.
fresh blood.
Oh, that's
And this
awful.
was in November. Those two men are still sitting in jail. But again, we just have to make those penalties. We're not passing any new laws. We're just making the penalties stricter and making them fit the crime. So it's a great bill. Yeah.
What's I'm just curious to know, what's your personal connection to changing laws? I mean, you've changed so many different laws, but what's the personal connection that keeps you tied to doing this work?
Your questions are so good.
No kidding, man. I was like, wow. You're writing these next time, man. Good
No,
job.
it's very personal. So I'm an attorney by trade, and I was doing a lot of rescue for a while, and you get exhausted. And I was doing 1/8 of what everybody else does, right? But just trying to help here and there with rescuing dogs. I saw that there was a puppy mill raid in Kaufman County, and I thought, where's that? And then I looked it up, and it was 20 miles from where I was sitting at my desk. I couldn't believe it. It was in 2009, and just realizing that there were 500 dogs in a small one-bedroom and detached garage, and that it basically was legal. So then I had actually, at that point, reached out to some people, and they're like, you have to meet Skip Tremble. And so Skip has since passed, but he really is the father of Texas animal law. He's passed so many of these amazing bills, and he got me involved, and I was hooked ever since. Because to me, you can effectuate change through the passage of one animal welfare law for thousands of animals for decades to come. If we pass the ethical pet sales bill, imagine what that means for our state. You know, we can focus on Texas licensed breeders. We're not saying that you can't get a Schnitzer Doodle Poodle, right? We're just saying, look to your local breed clubs, because they would never sell their animals to a pet store.
Right.
Or if you want a Labrador, go to your local breeders. They're licensed. We just fixed the Texas licensed breeder law in 2023. So again, just that affecting change in perpetuity for animals and the people that care for them.
Well, it looks like you get a better experience with a licensed breeder that knows about the breed and how to take care of the breed and the
Absolutely.
history of the breed, rather than some, person at a retail location that knows zero.
Right.
Yeah.
27% of purebreds are in shelters right now. But let's say you don't want to go to a shelter. Okay, then just go ahead and look at your local breed clubs. You can meet the parents. They have a lot of contracts that come back and say, if you want to return the dog, just return it to us. So it doesn't end up like that one dog in the colony shelter, right? Because once that product is out of their store, they don't
Yeah.
care anymore. And they testified to that essentially at the hearings.
Wow.
Yeah. So they do no tracking on those dogs when a representative asked them about it. So yeah, that's why I'm very, very passionate. I think laws are so incredibly important because it sets the tone for everything else, and everything falls underneath it.
Well, I'm sure those animals are appreciative of what you do.
Thank you.
It should be in people too. I mean, goodness, you're fighting the good fight for so many people have that, like all of us just by nature of what we do for a living, but you're out there on the front lines actually, pushing those things through and getting the laws on the books that we can operate from.
Yeah.
And it's just great work.
I appreciate that. It's really our volunteers. Our volunteers. We have a tiny, as I like to say, but mighty team of 5 paid staff for the whole state. But we have thousands of volunteers. And again, just that 5-minute phone call. Emails are great, not at this point of session, but that 5-minute phone call is everything. It's so important. And it could change a legislator's mind.
Well, that's just, we're still thankful for what you do. And we feel the same way about our volunteers here that do so much for us, day to day. Just before we wrap it up a little bit, can you kind of give us just a quick kind of maybe step out of your attorney's hat and give us maybe a behind the scenes look at what happens at the legislature? Are there, is it anything that you look forward to where you can, where you've got colleagues that are on your side that are there that make you feel good about being there? Or is it one of those things you just dread being there because you're going to have to fist fight the whole time?
Well, as I like to say, I get paid in puppy dog kisses and tequila, especially at this time of the year. No, I absolutely love my job. In the beginning, like in January when I drive down, I'm like singing, I'm excited, and then like now it's the Guns N' Roses song. I used to love you, and now I hate you because it's very.
I thought
it's
you were
a
going to
lot.
say "Welcome to the Jungle."
That too. That would fit as well. So I was there on Saturday, and, it was so funny because Dennis Quaid was in the office, and he was like 5 feet away from me. And, the individuals that I was with, they're like, that's Dennis Quaid. I'm like, I don't care. And I'm just, I'm signing cards. I am so ignited when THLM puts a call out to people, and I'll just be at the Capitol and someone shows up from Gun Barrel City, from Johnson County. We had these 2 great advocates from the Aussie Rescue that came in from Arlington and said, we saw you fighting the battle, and we couldn't have you doing it alone.
Aww.
And it meant the world to our team. So
That's
just
awesome.
seeing them come and show up and say, what do you need from me, is unbelievable. That's what motivates me. This is a hard time, but we never give up. We will never give up on stopping the sale of puppies and kittens in pet stores, because it's not right. It's what has become unethical. And we are going to fight until the end, until sine die, May 31st at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One last question, Shelby. Can you give us a sense of a day in the life of your job?
Okay. As my husband says, you're on the phone all day. And that's when people call me at night, my friends or family. They're like, you never call me back. I'm like, because I'm just talking all day. So this morning, let me just give you 3 hours this morning.
Yeah.
Probably about 32 different phone calls. Just,
wow.
you call this legislator, you're going to the Capitol now. Oh, can you go drop these at this office, whatever. And that's during the ledge session. But, it's just a lot of talking on the phone. I go and train law enforcement. Sometimes I go and do animal advocacy meetings in very rural areas, which I absolutely love, because no one listens to them, So I'm so proud that THLN shows up. But I also am a hockey mom. I have 3 boys that play hockey. So at the end of the day, I love to go and just cheer and get out some emotions as a good hockey mom does,
Sure.
screaming and yelling for my boys.
awesome.
And also, they've really taught me never to give up as well. I mean, hockey players, they get hit, they fall, and they get right back up again. And that's what we have to do. If we lose our bills this session, we will be back next session stronger, and more resilient, because that's what it's about. Never give up when animals are on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
so
the perfect
good.
way to say everything, encapsulate everything.
Absolutely.
For all of our work, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Shelby, again, we can't tell you how thankful we are that you came in, that you took some time out to come and talk to us. I mean, I think we've learned a lot already in this very short, period of time to have you on. We'd love to just go on and on with you, and we'll take you up on that offer to have you back.
Love to.
There's so much more that we could dive into, and we wish we could have you forever, but we've got to end it somehow. We're so thankful you're here, and thanks KJ and Mara for everything, and everybody. We'll be back again with another podcast very shortly. Please take a look, go back and leave us comments. Let us know what you'd like to see, what you haven't seen. Let us know what you think, and we're so happy that you joined us on the Paws and Purpose, the SPCA, the Podcast of Texas, SPCA Podcast of Texas. I'll never get it right. just come to our website.
Yes. Ooh, I can take it home with that.
Go for it, Mara.
Absolutely.
Take us home.
Yes. Don't forget, you can always check out everything that the SPCA of Texas has going on at spca.org. I want to give a special plug to Texas Humane Legislation Network. Go check out what they are doing at thln.org and get involved. Do your favorite thing. There's so many different ways you can help animals. Those 2 websites are probably the biggest ones, but you can also see what else the SPCA of Texas is doing on a daily basis by going to spca.org/calendar. We have a lot of great events coming up, so I will leave it at that. But
That was perfect, Mara. What she said. Thanks so much, everybody, for being with us. We'll see you next time. Please join us. Thank you. And that wraps up today's episode. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and took away something valuable. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with a friend. It really helps us keep the conversation going. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas for future episodes? We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.